You know, as wrestling fans, one of the most bitter pills for us to swallow about this business that we all love is it has been filled with bad seeds over the years. Sleazeballs, perverts, liars, racists, addicts, criminals, and so forth. The history of wrestling is far from clean. That's why it's so important for us as fans to celebrate good people like Titus O'Neil. Titus O'Neil is a walking, talking inspiration and is living proof that your circumstances don't have to determine who you'll become. Born into poverty when his mother was raped at the age of 11, Titus Bolo escaped life on the streets through hard work and discipline. He directed his energy into football, where he'd become a high school All-American, play for Steve Spurrier at the University of Florida, and eventually be inducted into the university's Hall of Fame. He has dedicated his adult life to charity work, helping hundreds of student athletes and at-risk kids, and has stressed the importance of advocacy for young people. He's become an incredible goodwill ambassador for WWE. Over the course of nearly a decade, I've never heard anyone say a bad word about the guy. In an industry that has been full of scummy characters, Titus is without question one of the good ones. That being said,
had dinner with many princes and very important people, and he
Oh my God, what the heck?
When it comes to wrestling, he is one unlucky man. Since making his in-ring debut in 2009 and first appearing on NXT in 2010, Titus has weathered countless storms, from in-ring botches to social faux pas. Based on this impressive rundown of gaffes, I'll bet his years of selflessness and generosity through charity have probably kept him around much longer than other men would have been. So while Titus absolutely deserves to be praised for his years of humanitarian work, I run a YouTube channel that pokes fun at wrestlers. I feel bad about this, I really do. Let's go all the way back to Season 2 of NXT, when many of us caught our first glimpse of Mr. O'Neil. His mentor was Zack Ryder, another victim of the monkey's paw. Titus got off to a rocky start in Week 1 when the rookies were all asked to give their thoughts about the debut of the Nexus the previous night on Raw.
If you're gonna fight, make it a fight. And if you wanna win, make it a win.
Well, thank you for that totally irrelevant answer, Titus. Anything else you want to add?
I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
But that wasn't as bad as what would happen in Week 4 of the competition. The rookies were fighting to avoid elimination by seeing who could carry a full keg around the ring the fastest. In walked Big Titus.
Go get him!
I think he threw some kegs around at the University of Florida.
Let's see.
Now, to be fair, Titus was not the only one to disqualify himself in this contest. Michael McGillicuddy dropped his keg almost instantly, then tried to explain himself.
There's something with this. I was with Husky Harris the other night. There was a keg a lot heavier. It wasn't as heavy as that thing was.
Damn, man, even Sarah Logan thinks you need to enunciate.
Has anyone from Kentucky ever been in that little hippie granola state you call? Huh?
But Michael's plight couldn't compare to that of the former Florida Gators, who crashed and burned in hilarious fashion. Apparently it was a big enough moment for them to recreate years later.
Do it! He's gonna do it! He did it!
WWE, our selective memory only serves to do harm. After that flop, it's no surprise that Titus was voted off the competition at the end of the episode, the first elimination of Season 2. Despite the setback, he was able to win over the crowd with his can-do attitude and his story of perseverance. He even got his catchphrase over.
Take each and every opportunity that you can to make it a win.
Yes, it was a sad day for O'Neil and his fans, but it just shows you how tough and competitive the original NXT was. Actually, I'm kidding, they waited a whole month before eliminating anyone else. Eli Cottonwood stuck around for 4 more weeks and he cut this promo.
What is a mustache?
Titus wouldn't appear again on TV until the Season 2 finale, sitting alongside the others who were eliminated. The show ended in a giant brawl as the spurned rookies got revenge on Koval, the eventual winner, and many of the NXT pros.
All the eliminated rookies from Season 2 just rushed the ring from ringside. Invited to be guests here. Yeah, well, a lot of people get invited, Cole. You can't jump over the barrier and get in the ring.
Whoa, hang on, let's go back to that Yakuza kick.
We're invited to be guests here. Yeah, well, a lot of people get invited, Cole. You can't jump over the barrier.
Holy crap, Titus just straight up no-sold one of MVP's signature moves like it didn't even touch him. This is a guy who jobbed out to a keg, but suddenly he's too good to sell because he has to get his own finisher in later? He'd be brought back later for NXT Redemption, which featured eliminated wrestlers from previous seasons. This version went for more than a year and never reached a resolution, prompting fans to pine for the days of... Oh, I'm sorry, this is really embarrassing. I should have had this on silent first, but... That's weird. Looks like I'm finally getting a tweet from Titus's old Twitter account from October of 2010. Well, let's check it out. Ah! Well, here's something I wish I could unsee. Soon after season 2 of NXT wrapped up, Titus pulled an Anthony Weiner and accidentally posted a pic of his little Gator on Twitter. Maybe he was trying to make it a win with the ladies of NXT season 3? O'Neil would claim his account had been hacked, the go-to defense of anyone who does something stupid on Twitter. He should have said he was on Ambien, would have been ahead of his time.
Oh, Z-Man, the Spartan Swinger is back on Wrestling with Regret, baby.
Oh, look everyone, it's friend of the show, Brian Danovich. Long time no see, man. How's it been since our review of the $1 Million Tough Enough?
Well, to be honest, Z-Man, things have been pretty rough for your boy Dano. I mean, I've been training for this big comeback to the ring. Even lost some 78 pounds, and in the process, I tore my meniscus. And a couple of weeks ago, I even broke my nose. But the worst of all is years ago, I had skin cancer and beat it. Well, most recently, I had another scare thinking I had skin cancer, but luckily I didn't. But it was scary as hell, Paisan.
Yeah, man, I can imagine. That really sucks, but I hope you get well soon and get back in the ring.
You know, Brian, I feel like I have a special connection to Titus O'Neil, almost like we're kindred spirits.
How do you figure?
Think about it. We've both had to go through a lot of rough stuff in our careers. However, we've managed to stay positive, move forward, and persevere.
Yeah, I guess you're right. That's a really good mindset to have, Swinger.
Things may not be so great right now, but I just have a feeling they're going to turn around and they're going to be great. And I'm going to win big with this scratch-off lottery ticket. Who knows? Maybe I'll even open my own wrestling promotion. So here we go. Ah! Oh no, paper cut! Oh, with my luck, this could lead to infection, possibly amputation. I need band-aids, I need antiseptic. I gotta go, Z-Man! Oh!
In April of 2012, the Primetime Players debuted on the main roster after Titus moved up alongside his tag team partner Darren Young. It was a dynamic and charismatic team, similar in vibe to Crime Time, but without, well, the crime. They made an immediate impact by damn near killing Yoshitatsu on an episode of SmackDown.
Check out the tag team personification with these two right here. These guys. Oh my goodness!
The angle in this video doesn't quite do justice to how badly that move got screwed up, or how badly things could have ended for the future Bullet Club Hunter. Between Titus, Darren, and Yoshi himself, it's hard to tell who was more responsible for the move getting botched. But in the end, the blame lay at the feet of none other than Goldust, who had produced the match and given the okay for them to do that spot. Goldie was fired as a result, but would eventually come back to WWE the following year. After that early debacle, the Primetime Players were paired up with Abraham Washington, a wrestler turned manager turned talk show host with guffawing sidekick.
That's right, I'm saying it. That's right, ain't nobody scared.
Things seemed to be going well for the three of them until an episode of Raw on July 30th, when AEW had a live mic during a match between Titus and Kofi Kingston. And well, something consensual penis.
Titus O'Neil is like Kobe Bryant at a hotel in Colorado. He's unstoppable.
I mean, why even say a line like that? They weren't in Los Angeles or Denver to get maximum heat, so what's the point? Ol' A-Dubs was soon fired after making the controversial remark. Now, even though neither of these cases were directly their fault, Titus and Darren were now linked to the firings of 2 people over the course of just a few months. So if Titus were never signed to begin with, would Dustin Runnels have approved that double-team powerbomb? Would AEW have made a rape joke on live TV? Hey, I'm just asking questions. In January of 2014, Titus turned on Darren Young after a series of losses, turning the Gator heel. Despite this changing character, O'Neil would float around the roster for a while, not doing much of note, except for briefly tagging with Heath Slater with one of the all-time greatest tag team names in history, Slater Gator, and I say that completely without irony or sarcasm. Fast forward to the 2015 Royal Rumble match. Along with being known for the birth of Axelmania and the death of The Rock's Golden Touch, this match also saw Titus almost break the record for fastest elimination. He probably would have broken it had he not botched the jump over the top rope. Now comes quite possibly one of the most controversial moments in O'Neil's history in WWE. But first,
Today, when I woke up this morning, I felt nothing but gratitude.
on February 8th, 2016, Daniel Bryan announced his retirement from in-ring competition due to his ongoing issues with concussions. Bryan delivered a tearful farewell in his home state and left to a giant ovation. But the moment was ruined when Titus O'Neil did the unthinkable, something so heinous and disrespectful, it shook the foundation of the company to its very core. He grabbed Vince McMahon's arm. That's it. If you're not paying attention, it can be easy to miss, and it's over in an instant. But you can see Titus grabbing McMahon's arm, apparently as a gesture to let Stephanie go first. But Vince turned around and shoved Titus back, and the next thing you know, boom, 60-day suspension. Now, you could argue Titus's actions were deemed inappropriate given the situation. He may have been out of place, but a 60-day suspension? The equivalent of somebody's second wellness violation, all for grabbing somebody's arm? If that's your standard for a suspension, Goldust shouldn't have been fired for what he did. He should have been blasted into outer space. Maybe spin it into a positive, start a whole space program called the XSA. That would still be less ridiculous than suspending a guy 60 days for arm grabbing. Of all the classic stories of Vince McMahon saying or doing something outrageous, this one has to be one of the most arbitrary. For the mere act of touching the boss when it wasn't in the script, Vinnie Mac allegedly considered giving Titus a 90-day suspension or even possibly firing him outright. He actually had to be talked down to 60, which is still ridiculous given the so-called crime. As nuts as this story was, I have to disagree with people who think that this is proof that McMahon is racist. Vince McMahon is not racist. Is he insane? Oh yeah, throw him in a home already. Titus missed out on any chance of a WrestleMania payday due to the suspension, but he was put right back in the thick of things upon his return, when he challenged Rusev for the US title at Money in the Bank that year. He would ultimately lose the match, but more memorable than that was his entrance, when he kissed his teenage son on the mouth at ringside. Was that a botch or a screw-up? No, just weird. We then jump ahead to the spring of 2017. The Titus brand is doing well, even though he was losing on a near-weekly basis. The aforementioned keg botch was recreated for all to see and laugh at. We're only about a month away from him joining forces with Apollo Crews, which has since become a pretty entertaining tandem. But before that could happen, the Gator yet again did something stupid on Twitter. And before you ask, no, his Johnson had nothing to do with it. Here we see a lovely picture of Titus at the Roman Coliseum alongside Braun Strowman, Heath Slater, Matt Hardy, Curtis Axel, and Roman Reigns. Just a bunch of pals sightseeing in Rome. Nothing bad about that, right? Well, maybe except for the fact that Reigns and Strowman were in the middle of one of the most insane physical rivalries of the year at the time this picture was taken.
Oh my God, no!
No, he's not gonna do it.
No!
If Twitter had existed in 1980, not only would Titus have been fired for posting that picture, he would have been blackballed from the business entirely. People think the curtain call at Madison Square Garden killed the business? Well, what about Coliseum Gate? I know trying to uphold kayfabe in today's age is totally pointless, and I'm sure that Braun and Roman are good friends in real life, but could you have at least tried to maintain the illusion a little bit in public? I don't know, just be in separate tour groups for starters? Our long, arduous journey into the career of Titus O'Neil reaches its merciful end in the progressive tourism city of Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, the home of the greatest Royal Rumble. Titus came in the match at number 39, and though it'd be hard to top the hilarity of his botch from 3 years earlier in Philadelphia, somehow, he made it a win.
Dinner with many princes and very important people.
In one swift movement, O'Neil not only broke the announce team, but he also broke the internet. Within hours, the Titus World slide led to a viral outbreak of memes all over the planet. The official video on YouTube has garnered more than 2 million views since late April. They've turned it into a shirt. It is quite possibly the biggest non-contact botch in wrestling since the debut of the Shockmaster. But in what's perhaps the biggest twist, this huge botch that Titus will now be forever synonymous with may not have been a botch at all. First off, look at the foot placement just before he falls. It's not a perfect landing, but there's nothing to suggest he would trip from that. Second, notice that when he slides, he ends up going just to the left of the metal leg that makes up part of the frame of the ring. If he had hit that as he was sliding, he would have gotten royally fucked up. It would have turned from comic to tragic in an instant. But thanks to a little forethought and precision, perhaps he knew to aim his body just enough to avoid catastrophe. Now, I'm not saying definitively that this was staged. Perhaps the slide at the Gur was an accident. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe Titus was just playing up on his reputation of being an unlucky person in wrestling and just wanted to create some buzz and get a pop out of the boys. Or maybe it was just Titus being Titus. Either way, it was hysterical. And that's where we conclude this trip down memory lane, pun fully intended. When you look at it all at once, Titus has gone through an extraordinary amount of shit in his career. Some was of his own doing, while other times he was just an innocent bystander. Sometimes it was the result of a conscious decision, other times by pure accident. I'm hard-pressed to come up with anyone who's had as much of a run of bad luck while also avoiding injury and arrests as this man. I'm sure if you looked at the careers of others in wrestling, you could find similar results. Maybe it just sticks out more with Titus considering how little he's done in wrestling. If O'Neil got pushed more, or won more championships, or were taken more seriously these last 8 years, maybe all of his botches could be pushed to the background, lost in the shuffle of his other accomplishments. But sadly, that's not the case with this man. He could win the Universal title 5 times and convince CM Punk to come back to wrestling, but people will still remember him as the guy who dropped the keg, or who grabbed Vince's arm, or who ate shit in Saudi Arabia. This kind of stuff's gonna follow him for the rest of his career. But on the plus side, it seems the man himself isn't letting this get him down. I've been listening to a lot of interviews with the guy lately, and I'm so amazed at his poise and his attitude toward everything. I guess when you've had the upbringing that he did, it's hard to take a couple botches here and there as seriously as others. Even though I make fun in this video, I can't stress enough how awesome a human being Titus O'Neil seems to be. Even if he never wins another championship, I'm certain this guy's going to be a future Hall of Famer someday, and I'll bet his package is going to be very memorable. No, not that package!